for the 2026 season, in my opinion. Obviously, the lists aren't quite filled out just yet. There's going to be a few train-on players, but I'm not expecting them to get in the best team. Let's get into it. All right. So here I've got my app. I'm going to gradually reveal each line of Carlton's best 23, in my opinion. We'll start off with fullback, Jacob Wiedering. Okay, so pretty straightforward here. This guy's been key pillar down back for Carlton for when did he come in? He came into the league in the 2015 draft. So, you know, really been holding it down at least for the last 7 years, 3 years worth of development in him. He's actually been one of the better performing draft picks of that class. You can see here, he's played some of the most games, up to 205 games, which I think is he's had 204. Clayton Oliver's played 205 out of that draft class. Okay, but yeah, Carlton certainly didn't miss on that draft pick. Okay, so you can be pretty happy with that one. They picked up, who's that? Harry McKay, picked 10 in that draft as well. Okay, so fullback, pretty straightforward. Next, we'll be revealing the back pockets. We've got Harry Dean, pretty straightforward, straight from his draft class. Hasn't played a game yet. He's a father-son prospect that Carlton picked up with pick 3. Eagles put a bid on him and Carlton matched it prior to them bidding on Cooper Duff-Tyler. You can see pick 3, 194 centimetres. I think he's the same height, or 1 centimetre shorter than Wiedering. Pretty similar build, lanky kind of build. Okay. And what I've done in this app, if you guys are going to have access to this if you guys become a member of my YouTube channel. I'll provide you with a password and you guys can access this off my website. Okay, but we'll go through a few features as I'm going through the 23. Sorry, I keep forgetting. We've got no subs this year, so it's 23. I'll go to the club details here. I've got depth charts and I've got their draft pick analysis where they've picked up all their players. But down the bottom, I've got the CBA list compliance, which shows that Carlton have got a CBA compliant list, and it goes through all the details here of what they're going to be paid as well. So it's an open source that you guys can find online, but I've just made a little link in the app for you. Obviously, Harry Dean, I was trying to show you. There's little incentives that we wouldn't have known about prior. He gets 50 grand if he won the Brownlow in his first or second year. It's got the base salaries, Category A rookies. I'm going to go through that as we get further through into the app. Sorry. So let's get back to it. Other back pocket, McGovern. Not quite the McGovern you want. You want the greatest defender of the last 20 years, in my opinion, Jeremy McGovern. But Mitch McGovern's not too bad. He's played 145 games. He's come from Adelaide. Okay, I've also got a controls box down here where you can show the former teams. It's kind of inspired by the Bounce program. They have their jerseys stitched together, but you can see he came across from Adelaide. Pick 43 in the national draft. He's been one of the longest standing players here. Harris Andrews, obviously the best pick of that draft. Who's up? Christian Petrarca. Yeah. So I think that's a pretty solid backline to get him started. 2 established players and the rookie, a high talent rookie in Harry Dean. We'll start off next with centre half back. I've gone with Jared Haynes. He's a bit sketchy, that dude. Nick Haynes from the 2011 draft. He's come across from GWS. Always been a good player. Took a little while to get going last year, but I think he gives a bit of stability, and he obviously reads the ball exceptionally well. He's a All-Australian player. You can put the jackets on here if you wanted to do that. Wiedering's picked up an All-Australian in 2024. When it was Haynes? Haynes was 2020. So Wiedering's was a lot more recent. He's still at the top of his game. He's in his prime years. Haynes is on the back end. He's 33. He's probably good chance this is his last year. He's out of contract this year as well. later on in the draft, I'll show you guys who Carlton, where their contract cliffs are, how many players they're expecting or need to sign this year, and who they're expecting to go. That's going to be pretty important about the list build-up, all that kind of stuff. So we'll go into that. I'm also going to be doing some live streams, and we can discuss it further if you want. So halfback flanker, we'll get rid of the jersey, the All-Australian jacket. Adam Sard, he's also an All-Australian. I believe that was what year was that? 2022, so not too long ago. Someone's got to tell this dude he can take 15 steps before doing a bounce, but apart from that, an exceptional player, provides a lot of burst out of the back line, hits up his targets well. He came from, I think he came from Gold Coast. Yeah, he came across from Gold Coast, had a bit of a stint in Essendon, and he's been at Carlton the last few years as well. Next up, on the other halfback flank, I've gone with Newman, Nick Newman. He's come out of, he's been injured all last year, so he's going to be a welcome addition back to Carlton's backline. Handy left footer. And I think that's a pretty solid backline for Carlton to enter the year in. As far as I know, all these players are healthy and ready to go. Obviously, we are months away from the season start, so it's, it might be a bit redundant by then. We can revisit it then. But in my opinion, that's Carlton's best backline. We'll go into the midfield engine room next. We'll start off with the two wingers. Okay, so for the wingers, I've gone Blake Acres. He's come across from St Kilda and Freo. He had a stint in Freo before joining the Blues. Obviously, very handy player. He's played, 187 games. He's 30 years old and contracted for an end of next year. We'll have a quick look at the team makeup. I've got a kind of a makeup at the moment. This is the age profile that we're looking at for Carlton at this point. At the moment, we've got a pretty established team. 5 of the 7 players I've already named are over 30 years of old. 30 years of age, with only Wiedering and Dean not in that bracket. Wiedering's in the prime. I've got 2 little categories. Prime is, and then your prime, but working towards the tail end of your career, and obviously your development stage players, 18, 20. Plenty of experience, 150. We're comparing it to the league average here. So at the moment, we're at 71%. That'll drop. Most of the clubs around end up with about 12% players over 30. Okay. And we've got the contract cliff. We've got 4 players. Their contracts are expiring 2026. You've got Wiedering at 2031. You've got 5 years out of him. We can look at our draft investment. 3 of the 6, what have I said? 3 out of the 7 players are top 10 picks. Okay. Couple in the rookie. Who were they? They were Newman and Sard. They were rookie selected players. Yeah, he went in the rookie draft. So did Sard. Yeah. So both 2014 rookie draft. We're going to have a look at that. Who was left over there? So there is Sard, Jaden Short, and Jack Sinclair pick 1. So all pretty handy players. The rookie draft does uncover some gems. There's Riley O'Brien. You take all those players at this point for a rookie draft player. Okay, and as far as your pathway players, you got one father-son in there and a little bit of a size and athletic profile. All right, so we'll get back to the other wing. Adam Shearer, another early draft pick. He's been contracted. He's got another lengthy contract, signed it not too long ago. You got another 5 seasons out of him. 2030, he'll be off the books. That will bring him to the age of 31. He'll probably be on 1 or 2 year prove-it deals. After that, you would think, depending on whether or not he's lost a step or he's become injury prone, Carlton list manager will look at that. Okay, now we move to the engine room. Okay, so with the ruckman, I've gone Liam Reedy. They've brought him across from Freo. He's got the Freo jersey on at the moment. I just want to illustrate to users of this app that they basically weren't on the list this time last year. These are new additions that have come in over the off-season. Reedy was one of the early trades from memory from the draft period. He's been picked 13. He's only played 3 games for Freo. Comes across. He's got his former club jersey there. You can change that to Carlton to keep it uniform. Cripper, absolute legend of the game. One of the best players to ever play the game. Should have been an eagle at some point. Bit disappointed about that, but Yeah, there's not much more you can say about Cripper. He's carried this team on his shoulders for, when did he start? 2013. So you're looking at 12 years already. I remember those years, 2015, 2016, 2017. It felt like he was the only bloke rocking up at times for Carlton. He was, early 20s and just dominating, and like those established players at the time weren't really giving him much assistance. So we can have a look at who's still on the on an AFL roster for that draft. There you go. He's one of the better at performing. Charlie Cameron went a few picks earlier, and the Bond. So they're all high-end players. Who's this one down here? Pierce. But yeah, we can go through that later. Hewitt as another ruck rover, and Walsh to finish off the engine room. I think that's about as strong as Carlton can hope for. All very established players. Walsh is at 133 games. Hewitt's played 200. Cripps 230. The only one that's really inexperienced is Reedy. But I think being one of the taller players on the roster, he should be fine. I think with these three helping him out, as long as he just gets his hand down and gets it to ideally Cripps for an outside dish to either one of these wingers or that. That's a pretty strong engine room in my opinion. We can look at the ruck depth that Carlton have here. I've given Liam Reedy the nod ahead of Mark Pitnett. Obviously, Pitnett's played 80 games, and Harry McKay's another 200-centimetre player on their books. I don't know if you can see. I'll get my head out of the way. Sorry. But, yeah, so those are the 200-centimetre players on their roster. I've listed them as the ruck depth. So if Liam Reedy was to get injured, or if Voss was to go another player, just whatever, Reedy wasn't training well or whatever, he's got those options to choose from. Lewis Young, he came along the back end of the last year. Good chance he starts, but I just think if you brought him in for a reason, why not play him? If he stinks, you can move on to one of those other guys I've listed there. More than likely pitting it. All right, so there's your backline and midfield for Carlton for 2026. All right, so next up we've got centre half forward. I've gone with Brodie Kemp. One of the, not really a massive key forward. Relatively early pick 17, and he's rostered for another 2 to 3 years. Ends at 2027. So what's that? 2 years, sorry. He's kicking 1.4 goals a game. He's got 2.2 tackles. And I think he's basically Carlton's best option for this type of role. They've lost Charlie Curnow, and a bit of a spoiler. Harry McKay is going to be somewhere in this forward line as well. He's going to have to take up another spot. So they need to really find another key option, in my opinion. But I think Kemp can do his job enough for Carlton to get by. Next, got Will Hayward. This is the big get. He's an awesome player from Sydney. Contracted for another 4 years, sorry. And then I don't think he ever got his dues when he was at Sydney playing amongst Buddy Franklin and Papley and all that, but an absolute jet. He's been in the system for 9 years already. Played 184 games. He'll put pressure on the players. He gets his marks. He gets his goals. Presents forward up past the 50. In my opinion, Carlton's best get. Well, obviously after Harry Dean. Not so much a bigger fan of Ollie Florent. But yeah, Will Hayward is a walk-up start for this Carlton lineup, in my opinion. Next up is Francis Evans. Pick 41, 2019 draft. 44 games, still pretty young. He's actually going to start filling out Carlton's younger bracket. We've filled it out with quite older blokes at this point. You can see here they're way older than the average team, 6 older guys. But Francis Evans really came on strong towards the last 3-4 games of the season, hitting the scoreboard pretty well, applying pressure in the forward line. 1.3 goals a game. I'm pretty sure he kicked multiple goals the last 3 games of the season. Might have even been 4. He's going to be pretty. People were keeping his eye on him for fantasy output as well, I think. But there's your half forward line for Carlton for next year. Starting half forward line, provided everyone's healthy, in my opinion. Just a quick look at the snapshot of Carlton. Still not many young guys finding their way on the field. Obviously, the early draft pick, Harry Dean. Quite a few guys in their prime. You got 8 already. And couple of 6 old guys, which is on the high end already. Okay. Next up, we will move to the full forward line, starting off with Harry McKay. Of course, he's the last man standing out of the two of them. Kerner and McKay, been working in tandem for however many years. He's going to be commanding the forward ball by himself. Basically, ideally, he's going to need Kemp to step up a bit. 27 years old, contracted 2030. So they've locked up basically full forward and full back for quite a few years. 1.8 goals a game. He'd want to bump that up to 2.5, I think. He lays his tackles. Another top 10 pick. There you go. You can see it here. I think that was a draft we had a look at earlier. Yeah, it was. So let's zoom in. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's Wiedering's draft. So McKay went at pick 10. Calamachi, Hopper, Darcy Parish. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward pick. Ainsworth, another one. They've picked him up in the trade period, coming across from Gold Coast. Another draft pick that was quite early. Where was he? Pick 4. Never really set the world alight at Gold Coast, in my opinion, but in saying that, a good chunk of those games, they were getting belted by 100 points, similar to the way Eagles are getting belted at the minute. Contracted to 2029. He'll provide a lot of stability for the whole Carlton forward line. I know they're screaming out for little quick forward pocket type players, so he's going to be a handy addition. And Motlop to finish off the field. The 18 on the field, okay, so let's zoom out. That's what we got. Get rid of that. That's what we're looking at for Carlton's starting lineup, in my opinion. Pretty good lineup, providing everyone can stay healthy. Plenty of experience. You got only one player in the development stage. Pretty much everyone is already in their prime or on the tail end. Probably a few too many players on the tail end. You can probably start looking at shuffling some of these guys out towards the end of this season, bringing in some youth. But they also do provide the stability of 150 games worth of experience as well. McKay hasn't quite played that. I thought he would have paid 150. Same with Walsh. These guys are in the 100 to 150 bracket. Motlop's played 50 to 100, and then obviously Reedy and Dean. They'll be learning on the job, starting off the season effectively. Okay. As far as how long these guys are locked up for, a lot of this starting lineup is these guys are out of contract end of this year. So Walsh is a restricted free agent, I believe. I can show you that. Where was it? So out of contract button here. Those ones with the faint purple line. I'm not really showing it ideally with this other modifier on it, but yeah, so Walsh is a free agent. So Carlton are going to have the right to match any contract he gets offered. But yeah, these guys are going to be the ones that they're going to want to sign. McGovern only got given a 1-year contract late in the off-season this year. So good chance he's gone next year. 32, Newman's 32, and Sard 31. Actually, McGovern was 31. Yeah, sorry, misread that. Again, what are we up to? We're up to 18 players. 7 of the 18 players top 10 picks. You got Ainsworth, McKay, Chera, Walsh, Haynes, Wiedering, and Dean. 3 you've picked up from the rookie list. All great picks. And 1 father-son. Okay, so that's Carlton's list makeup heading into 2026. Okay, well, now I will reveal the bench. They're going to come down the side of this field here. Start off first bench position. I've gone with Jagger Smith. You guys were all probably wondering, why hasn't he named Jagger Smith yet? Basically, I just prefer that more established midfield lineup. Smith is obviously going to he's going to get a game. He's going to get a game on game one. Everyone wants to know what he's about. He's a early draft pick from not this year's draft class, the one prior. He blew out his knee in preseason last year. Supposed to be an absolute ball magnet. Kind of I assume he spent the whole year in the gym, but from all the the time at the draft, he looked like a pretty wiry, lanky dude in the mold of like a Lockie Whitfield almost. 182 centimeters. So what's that? A little bit shorter than Sam Walsh. But yeah, the wraps on this kid are huge. I think he's going to provide huge depth, and he's going to be basically a midfielder that Carlton are going to want to build around when Cripper and all that Hewitt start making their way out. Ollie Hollands, another young wingman. He's played 65 games already, another early pick. He's been a great addition for Carlton, cemented his spot already. Depending on how much run you wanted, I've gone with the experience. Why you've got it. There's no point in keeping all these experienced players and then just having a middle of the table season by playing youth over a lot of the experience that you got. These guys need to get utilised in some way. Pitnett, here's your backup ruckman for when if Reedy, doesn't quite take off in the way they want and he just needs to get relieved. It's either going to be we need 3 players. I've got 3 players here over 200 centimetres, I believe. Yeah, so they're your 3 tools. Pitnett, Reedy, and McKay, and you want to keep McKay up in your forward line. So if Reedy needs a break, you can't really hide him in too many other places unless you want to start playing McKay in the forward line. This is obviously to fill in the void that De Koning's left. Next one, I've gone with Lockie Cowan, another young fella. He's established himself, had a pretty good season. Picks up 15 touches a game, 5 marks. So bit of depth there. He can play midfield, down back, and then Zach Williams, another established player, another older player. He's probably one of the guys that are closest to getting forced out. And we have a look at the the emergencies and the depth of the rest of the list. So he's coming from I think it was Gold Coast from memory. Where are we? Yeah, Gold Coast. Pitnett obviously came in from Hawthorn. Francis Evans started off at Geelong, moved to Port, and then he's found his way at Carlton. Finally established himself in the lineup. Okay, so as far as that's where you've got your starting lineup from, and All Australian. We'll throw the jacket on. They're playing with 6 All Australians, so very established team. Fair bit of upside. Providing all these guys can stay healthy, Carlton should feel optimistic. Whether or not they can push for a premiership is going to rely a lot on these old dudes staying healthy, which is going to be a struggle for Vossi and the fitness crew. Okay, that's enough rambling. I'm going to move on to the emergencies that I've got. So basically the next guy's up. Should an injury occur, Campbell Chesser, as a West Coast fan, I wasn't stoked with him leaving, but in saying that, we didn't get to see a ton of him anyway. He was an early draft pick for us back in 2021. He's only played 36 games. He did show a lot of promise at the tail end of last year, playing off a wing. Good kick, taking his marks and just providing a good option for the under-pressure West Coast players. So he actually found himself wide open in the forward line quite a bit, and Eagles weren't in the forward line too often, so knows how to find space. I think he's one of the more underperforming. Yeah, he is. So he's one of the underperforming draft picks of that class. You can see here. Sam Darcy is obviously, you would normally look at this graph and say, oh, this guy's underperformed, but it's Sam Darcy. He's been injured, a fair bit, but he's obviously one of the top 5 players in the league, so you can ignore that. But yeah, Erasmus, Tom Brown, and Campbell Chesser. Everyone else that's been picked up in that same draft have all put together, around 90 to 70 games. Campbell Chesser, first emergency. Ollie Florin. I felt bad even putting this guy here. I'm really not a fan of his play. I've never seen him really light it up. He's played a ton of games for Sydney, 184 games. A lot of the times I'm going, oh, surely they can bring in someone else to take that role. Who knows? Maybe Vossi thinks he can get something out of him. If anyone was going to change any, I'd probably change Florin outside of the starting, was not even starting 23, starting 26. And Ashton Moore, upcoming, developing forward. He's only played 11 games, but this is where your youth comes in. These guys are going to start making their way as these old codgers start to get injured. That's basically what I'm expecting. All right. Next, we're going to move on to the depth, okay? That's your starting 23 plus 3 emergencies, provided that everyone stays healthy. Have a quick look at this output profile. Best 23. Basically, on average, 14 disposals per game, 320 across the team, 12 goals, 12.1 goals. Average across the league is 12.3. Obviously, West Coast and Richmond are bringing that down, and you got your, Brizzy, Gold Coast, whoever, bringing it back up. Same amount of tackles, 58.7. So they're on the lower end of a tackling team. Your marks at 76.5, so they don't take as many marks as everyone else. The league average is 86, and their hit outs 42. So from memory, that was Reedy. He'd been attributed 18 hit outs. He only played like one game last year, so that's going to skew the stats a bit. And Pittner had what was it? Yeah, so there's 40, 24 and 18. Pittner had averaged 24, so there's your 42 hit outs. Okay. Let's get into the depth, and I'll show you how this all works. Where are we? We'll reset that, and then I'll show the full list. So basically, all these guys not on the starting 23, we're going to have basically all your depth players, rookie listed players. Your rookie list is divided into Category A and Category B. I'll explain that in a moment. Primary list, we're going to put it in primary list, Category A rookie. You're only allowed 6. And Category B. Okay, so up here, if you wanted to explore what the primary list is, I've got a little pop-up here. What is the primary list? The group, you build your best out of your best 23, and it's basically it's everyone on the primary list, not just the match day. How many spots? It's 38 plus 6, 44. This year, everyone's allowed 44, apart from West Coast, who got the assistance package. They were awarded 4 extra rookie list spots. Try to do a bit of research. I think they're Category A rookie spots. That's what I've listed them as in this app. And basically, how your primary list money works, it's paid out of the club's total payments, the main salary cap. So they're paid all the same. They're just paid a bit less. But if you really want to get in the nitty-gritty of it, they're on the lower tiers of the pay scale, but they still count to it. That's why you find these guys are more or less established guys, and then you throw your zero game players into your rookie list. Okay, so let's just go into the primary list. These are the guys who I think I've ordered them who I think is more whose job is safest, effectively. So Category A rookie, we'll go through that. Traditional rookie list, AFL depth, but on a tighter budget. They're recruited through the same pathways, national rookie delisted free agency. Why maximum of 6? This is so clubs can't hoard endless cheap prospects and just pay their stars and just keep accruing more superstars. Capping rookie forces list managers to make real decision who deserves a primary list spots. And then how the rookie money work, they're usually paid on a lower base, comes out of the same total payment system. But because they provide cap-friendly depth, all right? If you wanted to really get in the nitty-gritty, I believe there's like 100K barriers that count towards it and stuff like that. I have, as I mentioned earlier in the video, remember you can always refer to the actual CBA that they're all working to. It runs from 20... it's obviously between the Aussie Footy League and the Players Association. It runs from 23 to 27. I believe it was page 57 was where you go into the salary caps, all the financial side of it. Here we go, page 56. Yeah, and it'll basically, you can go through there, work out your rookie payments. All right, let's get back into it. Okay. And then your category B, these guys are coming from other sporting codes or other nations. Obviously, they're not obviously. Regularly, they're Irish guys or something like that playing Gaelic football. There's some basketballers, cricketer. There's a whole bunch of different types of ways to get on there. All right, so safest out of the rest, I believe, is going to be Jack Ison. He's their additional draft pick, came from their academy. Pick 47 in the draft. He's a pathway player. They matched a bid on him. He's going to be safe for another contract for players outside of the first round. They're going to go to 2027. If you went in the first round, you'll see Harry Dean. He's contracted to 2028. That came in when the Harley Reid draft went through. They were worried about him leaving. So Ison's going to be safe, and so is Taylor Byrne, another draft pick 45. Ison pick 47. They're both safe as houses. They're going to be given a couple of years to establish themselves and force themselves in here. I'd almost probably look at putting Ison on the emergency and maybe even starting to push Hollins or someone like that for some game time. That's what I'd start looking at. Camporelli, another father-son. Ben, he went at pick 43. He hasn't played any games. He was an earlier draft pick than his other brother. Fogarty, Lewis Young played 80 games, really came on, had a good second half of the year. Last year, some ruck depth. He's 202 centimetres tall. He's taller than Pittman. Oh, he's same size as Pittman, sorry. So in that regard, you could probably think Pittman might be playing for his spot, and you'd throw Young and Reedy just to alternate. You could do that. Camporelli, he played a couple of early games last season. We didn't see him. I think it's games 1, 2, and 3. And then we didn't see him again. So another year in the gym in the off season. He should be right. He's out of contract end of this year. We'll likely get some news from him getting signed on. Same with his brother. You'll get news from them signing on throughout the year. We can have a look at. See, this is where your age profile is going to start to catch up with the rest of the league. A lot more younger fellas now. They're all on the bench. They haven't quite forced their way into the best 23 just yet, but we'll go through that. All right, let's minimize that. You got Billy Wilson. Truthfully, I don't know much about this dude. I can't recall seeing him play at all. Pick 34 in the national draft, 4 games, 20 years of age. This is why I've tucked him in behind these other dudes. Let me reset all the players. There we go. I just don't feel he's as established. Hudson O'Keefe trained on supplementary selection period in the 2023. He's played 5 games. He got an empty list spot, and you're probably wondering, where is O'Farrell? O'Farrell should be on the field. O'Farrell is injured for a massive chunk of the year, so I've excluded him in this best 22 to start off with. But yeah, obviously he should be in the starting lineup, and you'd probably, when he is healthy, maybe pushing Cowan out, or Williams, maybe even Williams, I'd say. That's what we're kind of looking at. The rookie players on the Carlton lists, Cottrell, he went at pick 24 in the 21 rookie draft. He's played 74 games, so he's semi-established. Jordan Boyd, another one, mid-season rookie draft. These guys are the older dudes. They've had a chance to play a few games, 25 and 27. Cooper Lords played 23. He was drafted pick 9, mid-season draft. Carroll, Young's brother, I assume they're brothers, pick 17. And at Charlton, this guy went at pick 9, 2024, and hasn't played a game yet. He's only 19 years of age. He'll be given a chance. And then your rookies, Duffy, I believe he's an Irish fella. and Monahan are your Category B rookies. So you maxed out. So you got one less rookie spot. I believe Wes Wally is training on with Carlton this off-season. And the fella that was a naughty boy that was on the list last year, Voss told him to look for other opportunities, and he didn't. The name's escaping me at the minute. But that'll get filled out throughout the year. We'll have a quick look at your total list, where it sits, and then we'll go through the draft pick and how you guys got there. Okay, so as far as a club goes, as far as club talent on your overall entire 44, you've actually got a bit of depth on your bench. Guys that weren't on the field, 11.3 player. The average across the league is 10.7. You got more goals, more tackles, more marks, more hitouts. So you're above average as far as your depth. You got quite a bit of depth, but your top enders are kind of, in comparisons with other teams' top enders, falls away a bit. Most of your team on the bench is all, these are the guys in the development stage of their career, 18 years of age to 21. Guys in their prime, at the start of their prime, most of them on the field. Chesser, I can very much see him working his way onto the field. Cottrell and Young can also find their way. I think Young for Pitnet is the obvious answer. Cottrell, not so sure. But he's obviously played 75 games. He can find his way there. Okay, and the tail end of the prime years, you've still got a few on the field here, and Pitnet, Boyd, Fogarty, and Young. Sorry, these pop-ups, I keep clicking the wrong area. As far as your experience goes, your 14 players, they're all on the bench. They, apart from 5 in the starting 23. Nice even spread there. I think you got 14 who played less than 10 games, but you got 10 who have played more than 150. That's who you want them to sponge off. As far as your contract cliff goes, these are you guys that you guys want to sign on for this year. The fact that all these guys are already in the starting 23, you would think that the board would already be working towards extending them. If they don't retire, Haynes is the obvious candidate at 33 years of age. Newman at 32. That'll be 1 year prove-it deals from here on out, you would think. These guys are signed on to the end of next year. Cripps, that takes him to 32-ish, I think. Maybe, again, another year or two, you can see him through to 34, 35. And yeah, your player that you've signed on the most is Wiedering. He signed on through 2031. You've got a few other players that have got 5 years in. Florent, like, what's going on there? I don't understand it. They see something I don't. But McKay, Hayward, and Sarah, you can be happy with that. They're gonna, just provide you some stability for the next few years. All right. Now we can go through the draft investment, top 10 picks of the draft. Most, as you can see, they find their way into the starting 23. Charleston and Lord, I think they were rookie drafts. Yep, they were. Both of the same year. Mid-season rookie and the rookie draft after the national draft I'm talking about, sorry. So you can see here, not actually that entire rookie draft, not too many guys have actually started. Finbar, he was at North. He's gone to Adelaide. Will McLaughlin, Archday Wicks, Tom Cochran. Okay, and then who was the other guy I was looking at? Was it Carroll? Yeah. Carroll, again, not too much happening out of that draft. Lachlan McNeil for the Doggies, and that's about it. Pathway players, you got 3 father-sons on the list, Harry Dean and the Camporelli brothers, and Ison from the academy. Size and athletic profile, you're roughly the same as everyone else, 188 centimetres. You got same 200 centimetre players on average. 7% of your list is under 180 centimetres, so your small forwards, ideally. 180 to 189. Basically, that's that big bracket between 180 centimetres and 2 metres. These are more your midfield types. These are your bigger midfield / key position players, and then your ruckman options here. Okay. Next, I want to show you the how your club got there. These are your depth charts. Obviously, you got your backs, mids, forwards, left, with depth, and who's played the most games on your depth. Ollie Florence, so he's played 184 games. It might just be my bias against him for whatever reason. Other people obviously see some talent there. Pressure players, you kind of want to see some small forwards getting up here, but Cripps is laying the most tackles along with Hewitt for you, and they're on the back end of their career. Obviously, you want coming through a good tackle there is Cooper Lord. 23 games into it, he's already laying nearly 4 tackles a game. All right. Next, I've got your Carlton's club makeup. This is where you guys accrued all your players. I'll just start off with national drafts. This is populating all the drafts, all the different type of drafts: rookie draft, pre-season draft, mid-season draft, Cat B rookie, supplementary period, and there are other pathways as well over the years. For instance, Tex Walker was a New South Wales scholarship thingy. Anyway, these are your starting 23. Okay, so as you can see, as you get closer towards the bottom bottom of the y-axis, it's an earlier draft pick. I don't know if you guys can see the jerseys on the video. Let me hide me. I think it's this one. No, wrong one. No. Anyway, I can't really show you, but pick 26 is your oldest player is Nick Haynes from the 2011 draft at pick 7. Zach Williams. There we go. Zach Williams, pick 54. Pitnett and Mitch McGovern. They're you guys on your starting lineup that have actually come from later draft picks. Here you can see Harry Dean, Jagger Smith, back-to-back pick 3s for 24 and 25. Ollie Hollands and Lockie Cowan. You actually didn't draft anyone on your starting 23 in 20. Starting 23 players in 2023. But you got your depth players here as well. Okay, so ideally, good chance a lot of these don't pan out. As you can see here with the 2023, you've only got really 4 players here outside of the first 30 picks in your starting 23. All right, but yeah, that's your lineup. Let me see if I can delete me here. Sorry. There you go. It's a bit better. Now I can show you starting 23. That's it. That's what I was trying to show you before I was covering Nick Haynes in the corner here. Cripps and Blake Acres, the same draft. All right. So next, we want to show you AFL-wide and compare you. These are all the drafts from all the years. I'll go through this with everyone's favourite clubs. And obviously do some live broadcasts we can discuss. Age and experience. Okay, so overall, I've got everyone's age and how much experience on their list. Obviously, this is the full 44 roster spots for every club. Average games, you got the 5th most experienced team, as I was trying to explain before, with your, 7 guys over 30. As far as your best 23, you're the 3rd oldest team. Collingwood is obviously the oldest. That's going to be swayed by Pendlebury and Sidebottom. Okay, and then you got your teams that are struggling. You know, West Coast second youngest. Geelong are obviously 2nd oldest. These guys are all near the top. So Carlton really not quite getting the bang for the buck out of their older players, is what you could say. Prime age share, that's the share of players between the 23 years old and 28. I apologise if you can hear my son. He's starting to wake up. Contracts, this is your contract cliff. Pretty much as far as your your best 23, You've got more guys out of contract this year than most other clubs. Geelong also have 8. Port have got 9. But you got, St Kilda, Sydney, they've all locked them away for this year. Talent mix, your average height, your 4th tallest team. I'm referring to the best 23, the starting 23. At the moment, you guys can change that around and play with it as you go. And you're more established effectively here. Output, it's more or less the same thing. There's a finals index, really. I wouldn't read too much into that. I need to do some tweaking on that. And your concentration of the top 5 goals, you got 58%, which is high. So that means you're getting a fair few goals out of your midfield, which is handy. It's not just your forward line that's scoring all your goals. But in saying that, you did lose a big chunk of them from Charlie Curnow. Okay. That's about it. As far as your pathway goes, you guys haven't really been helped out by the pathways as much as everyone else. You're ranking, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 8th. You've got 4 players, only 9% of your list, whereas Brisbane and Gold Coast get 27.3. Okay. Here I've got Rolling All Australian. If you guys wanted to get the app, obviously, become a member of my channel. What I plan to do with this is, as the weeks roll on, we'll do a Rolling All Australian. You can drag them on, have a starting lineup. You've obviously got your squad down here, and you pick your players from your different teams. Okay. And same deal with the state of origin. Here we've got the Victoria and WA lineups. I've populated it with the players that have already been named. Being honest, I think the Victorian team looks a little bit better. Oh, great bit better. Their team is awesome. So basically you can have a play around with this. You put Cameron in your pocket. I think you'd have, Shy Bolton on half forward flank. Jackson's probably a bench. You'd probably have Darcy Cameron as your ruck. I'm thinking Chad Warner. Hill would be a winger. Baker maybe a halfback flanker / bench. Norton, Jesse Hogan in your forward line. Midfield of Darcy Cameron, Warner, and Cripps. Looks pretty promising in my opinion. Here we've got Victoria got Darcy and Cameron with Toby Green in the forward line. I don't think Bont's really much of a bench warmer. I think we put Dacos on a half-back flank. Rowell and McCluggage. Probably have Rowell in the middle. Maybe Anderson out on the wing. No, Butters on the wing. Butters on the wing. Anderson, Bont, Rowell, and Gawn. Stewart, Sinclair, Dacos, half-back line. And then you got a couple of half-forward flankers to fill a forward pocket. Who would be your best forward pocket? Trying to think. Ashcroft, no. So what I've got here is got all your eligible players throughout the entire league. Dangerfield could play. You could have De Koning as more ruck depth for Gawn. You'd think Max Holmes maybe is a winger as well. He could provide some value. Let's throw him and put McCluggage on a half forward flank. I think this team could be insane. Sam Collins maybe next to Wiedering in the back line. So manning up on Hogan and who do we have? Hogan and Norton. Stewart can just play free man like he likes to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some live streams and we can just have a play around with what people want to see for the State of Origin games coming up in, I think it's February. All right, and then the last little button here, I've just got the jerseys I've made together for that. All right, so that's Carlton's best 23 and the rest of their list. I hope you liked the video. If you want to see your club assessed and analysed and all that, please like and subscribe. If you guys want to utilize this app for yourself, remember I've actually done all this online on my website. Okay. And that'll be available to members. If you go inside the members only area in my channel, there'll be a video that will give you the password, and that will be available shortly after Chrissy. Any support would be greatly appreciated, guys. other than that, if you don't see any other videos, have a Merry Christmas, enjoy your holidays, and stay well. Thanks, guys. Cheers.